Come on in. Let's connect.
Hey everybody, this is Nalo from Stewart Connects, Reels, Reads, and Real Talk.
Let's connect.
We are
Love.
again joined by Angelo, right?
Hello.
Hey Angelo. We today are going to talk about the movie Blink Twice. It's no longer in the theaters. You have access to it if you have Amazon Prime. I'm not sure if it's on any other streaming services, but I know that it's there. And we're going to sort of give you our thoughts on the movie as to whether or not it's worth your time. So, let's get started. What is Blink Twice about? Frida is a waitress and a server trying to figure out her life. At a party for the rich and famous, she gets invited by her crush, played by Channing Tatum. His name is Slater King. He invites she and her friend Jess to his private island. She's excited, her friend's excited, and they head off to this island with a group of other people. Frida is played by Naomi Ackie, who played Whitney Houston in the Whitney Houston movie, I Want to Dance with Somebody. So here we are. So, Angelo, what did you think going into Blink Twice?
So going into the movie, I thought it was going to be a cheesy reality show sort of setup where you had a bunch of people who were the elite hobnobbing with a bunch of girls, and it was going to be like a reality show, almost like a box office version of Survivor or the real world. And that is not what you get.
Okay.
Um, Not saying too much about the movie. There's so much I would love to say, but I can't because the movie isn't what you think. Um,
Okay.
Channing Tatum has always been, in my opinion, either the sex throb or the comedian. But
Mm,
he definitely had a different range in this movie, and I finally felt like he was an actor. Like I've always seen him just as a performer,
hmm.
never an actor. I didn't think he was a thespian, and he proved me wrong in this movie.
Okay. I
Yeah,
feel you. Well, so once it starts, again, this is one of those movies that if you say too much, you're going to give it away. I will say, I instantly, I when I went into it, I didn't know what it was about, but it has a trigger warning. And that may be the first time I've ever seen a trigger warning in a movie. I'm a big book reader, a huge book reader, and a lot of the books that I read have trigger warnings. So I'm used to them, but I'd never seen it in a movie. So as soon as I saw that and they flew off to this island, I already had an idea that something was going to happen. I didn't know what, and that we won't give away, but I will say the trigger warning is warranted.
yes,
Uh, but it's not really any more warranted than a lot of movies that have um, things in it that are could trigger you depending on your background. But there, the trigger warning is there, and it is something you should heed.
yeah,
So, with that being said, I will say one of the lines in the movie that I noted, I can't remember who said it, but somewhere early in the movie, once they get to the island, one of the women says, "There's something wrong with this place." And I can say that is your, something's going to happen, and because something is wrong with that place. What did
yeah.
you think? And you know what? Because we're not giving away anything, what did you think would possibly be wrong with this place?
I went in thinking once again it was going to be a reality show horror movie
Mm,
where almost like a slasher.
mm, I did too.
And I feel if it were a slasher movie, I wouldn't have been as disturbed as I was from watching the movie.
Mhm.
Now, I've seen a lot of stuff in my life, and I want to say things, but I don't want to give it away.
Mhm.
But in my life, and I've seen a lot of horror. When I was a kid, I watched um, I Spit on Your Grave, which I shouldn't probably have watched when I was
No.
10 or 11, but this truly disturbed me. There's only one other thing that I've ever seen in my life that disturbed me more. And
Hmm.
that was a scene in the Michelle biopic that I think they did on Lifetime or one of those little channels.
Right.
And there's a scene there that, as a male, it disturbed me. And I always think about that.
Okay.
And it bothers me. And this movie gave me the exact same feeling
Mm.
in many scenes. And I walked away saying, this is a powerful movie that should have been marketed a little bit different. And I think if it was, people would have enjoyed it more. So
Hmm.
Kravitz, as a first-time director, I think she knocked it out of the park. Was it flawless? No, there were a lot of flaws, and there was a lot of stuff they could have done to go through and develop the characters. But her scenes were so powerful
Hmm.
that they left an impression on me. And I want her to do more because I think she's going to be a great director.
I agree. I agree. And then, circling back to the acting, because since we're not really going to give away the story, other than to say I concur with Angelo, as I said, the trigger warning was warranted. And I, like him, I have been watching horror movies since I was a little kid, every kind of horror movie. I grew up, I feel like I was taken care of by Halloween and Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street.
There
Freddie,
you go.
Jason, and Michael were almost babysitters to me. I've seen every single horror film. And this was a different kind of horror, I will say that. And I have seen also a lot of tragically horrible movies and things that happen to both men and women. This falls within that category.
Yeah,
And with that being said, the acting by Naomi Aki was was brilliantly done.
yeah,
She did a great job with the story that she was telling. And all of the actors in this were really awesome and they did a great job. But since she was the lead and we followed her through this story, she did a great job at conveying her happiness, her sadness, her when you're not sure what's going on, it's because she's not sure what's going on. And when she's figuring it out, you're right there with her and you're feeling all of the things that she is conveying about whatever may or may not be happening on this island with all of these beautiful people. And so, yeah, I was disturbed, but I read a lot and I read a lot of things that may or may not be disturbing. And again, I've seen a lot. So, but I do believe that you should take heed to the trigger warning and
yeah.
you make your own choice as to whether or not it's something you want to see. And so with that being said, I will say for me, I thought the acting was great. I thought the story was well told. As you said, I think it was not perfect. There were things that, you know, again, you always say, I would do this and I would do that. We couldn't because we didn't write it or direct it, but there were things I felt that could have been rolled out, maybe giving the audience a little bit more of some things would have been good. There are always some potholes I spot in movies, and this was no different. But as a whole, I think that it was well directed, and as you said, this was Zoe Kravitz's first. Um, and I don't know, this was her very first movie that she directed, and she really knocked it out of the box with her very first movie. I'm not sure how she ended up picking this, but I honestly do feel like I saw a video and somebody asked her why she chose this. as a, and I think it has to do with as being a woman and women empowerment and about telling a story that maybe others would not want to tell, something along those lines.
Yeah. I mean, she does a great job, and I love anything that Zoe Kravitz has done. Like one of my favorite shows that I watch over and over again is High Fidelity off of Hulu. It's a
Mm,
great series, and it it had me so vested in what was going on, and it almost feels like she learned a lot from that show and took it over into her directing style because
mm,
you had emotions from every single person. I remember even, I don't want to say too much once again, but there's a scene because I saw it with my buddy and
mhm,
we had an argument about it in reference to if a certain thing should have happened to a certain person in the movie.
mm,
And I thought about it and it took me a while. And then eventually I said, you know what? Hey, you're correct. And I
hmm.
had to back down because I saw it from that standpoint.
So I've seen this twice. The second time I saw it with my two brothers. I have an older brother and two younger brothers. So I saw it with my older brother and one of my younger brothers. And we disagreed. Well, my younger brother and I disagreed with my older brother about what should have happened. And I will say we were right, in my opinion, but I'm sure he believes his opinion was right. I know he does because it was a long debate. And if you decide to see this movie, you watch the movie to the end, I feel like it is a perfect movie to have a discussion about.
Oh, yeah.
It is a perfect movie to, if you are into debating or you're going to find that really probably no two people are going to have the exact same thoughts about this movie. I certainly have, I mean, I saw it the first time I saw it and discussed it with women. We thought differently. And then this last time I saw it with my brothers, my younger brother and I thought the same. But even within that, there was a nuance within us thinking the same because there were some things he thought should have happened or didn't happen, and I
Yeah.
was on the other end. But it is worth it's worth a see. Again, as long as you take heed to the trigger warning. It spells it out. I won't tell you exactly what's in the trigger warning because I feel like that's part of once you, if you decide to see it, sit down, read it, take the time to read that trigger warning. And if you fit in that category of individuals who may be triggered, then I would say don't watch it.
Don't watch
And
it. Yeah.
if you are not, and if you are somebody who still wants to move forward, then watch it with care. When I saw it, again, being a book reader, I am quite familiar with trigger warnings. I read physical books and I listen to audiobooks. And so I've heard trigger warnings read to me and I've read them. And I move forward because there are things that maybe would I don't think the word trigger would probably fit, but there are things that disturb me that I don't want to read. And depending on the warning, I may opt to not. And that is the movie. That's what this movie is.
Yeah.
So, with all of that being said, is this a movie you would recommend? And how many buttery popcorns would you give this movie?
Would I recommend the movie? Yes, with the caveat that you should not see it by yourself. And the reason why is because it's a great discussion piece.
Mm.
And it's probably something that you want to have a mixed gender watch party with
Hmm.
because everyone, like you said, will get something different from it. And the crew that I went with, everyone saw different things and felt certain ways. And the last time I ever had anything like that happen was when we saw the first Joker movie,
Hmm.
where everybody walked out and it was like we watched a different movie. So it's cool, like you said, to watch because you will debate and you'll probably step back and change your mind on several different things.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I did not like the ending at all. But I think we didn't like the ending for different reasons, which after this, I'd like to see your
Yes,
reasoning
we'll
why
have to
you
talk
didn't
about
like
it.
it.
Yes.
Yeah, because I felt the same way about the ending of this movie, how it played out, same way I felt about Nosferatu.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But hey,
All right. And how many buttery popcorns would you give it?
1 out of 5, I would give it a 4.
Okay. I agree with you with most of what you said in terms of the movie. I would say you need to watch it with somebody. I would say that it is good to watch it with somebody. I didn't watch it with anybody when I saw it the first time, but my friends had seen it, or a few friends of mine that I discussed movies with had seen it, so we talked about it. And then this last time that I watched it with my brothers, it was a different experience. Because I think I was talking to myself that first time, having and but then having to actually have the conversation, and we kept pausing it because there were a lot of things that we were trying to figure out as it was going on. And so it is absolutely a great conversation because, again, it starts with these two women agreeing to go to this island with a man they do not know. And, everything that glitters ain't gold. Just because somebody's good looking and somebody's got a lot of money and they invite you to an island, maybe that's something you need to think about a little more.
But hey, the cool thing about it is that the little boy from The Sixth Sense,
Haley Joel Osment is uh,
yeah,
is in this movie, and also Christian Slater, whom I've always loved because I grew up at a time when I guess he grew up. I don't know, we might be around the same age, and I've always been a fan. And he did not disappoint in this movie.
he didn't.
He did not disappoint. And really, as I said, all of the actors in this movie did not disappoint. Everybody came with their A game. There was
Yeah,
not a time when I felt like, somebody else should do this or this. Everybody brought their A game with this movie, and obviously including the director. So for me, I'm going to give this 3.5 buttery popcorns out of 5. Um, so, is there anything else you'd like to say about Blink Twice?
with a little bit of tweaks, it might have gotten some nods, for some awards. I don't know if it won anything, but I
I
think
don't, I don't
they had
think it
done,
was nominated for anything.
yeah, like it had some good moments in it. I think like not it wasn't Oscar worthy, but like the Saturn Awards and some other things probably would have looked at it and taken the time to like really think through that movie if they had marketed it a little different. But that's
Okay.
my only thing.
Okay. Well, I went into this movie not I don't pay attention to a lot of the marketing. I tend to go into movies not knowing anything because that's how I enjoy a movie more, when I sit down and not know anything about it. So I honestly did not know Zoe Kravitz was the director of it until I saw it. But I did see it marketed all over the place. If you have seen the poster, you see this guy with a Polaroid camera, and in the picture is this black woman with a frightened face. So that drew me in. That gave me Freddy Krueger, Michael Myers vibes all day long. And I am here for it because, again, I love me some Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees, and Freddy Krueger. So, but the 3.5 is because there were things I felt could have been tightened up, and the ending, honestly, the ending dropped at a full point for me.
I agree.
I think the ending can ruin a movie, but I will say, having watched it, that one of the disagreements that I had with my older brother is that he actually liked the ending. And my mom, who I told to watch it, she liked the ending. So, there are going to be people who like it, and there are people who don't, and there's going to be me that says you're all wrong.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know how you liked it, but so that's why I don't want to turn anybody off on it, because just because we didn't, these are two people who did. So
Yeah.
to each his own.
Everybody, I mean, I can see why someone would like the ending.
I could see why they would as well. I
I
could,
can
and I
see.
could see both of their points as to why they liked that Hollywoodish type of an ending.
Yeah.
I just didn't feel that it was true to the movie we had just seen.
Thank you. And
We just
that's
saw a movie and the ending did not fit that. It was not true to that. So
There you go.
that was my issue with it. Other than that, it would have been fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you all for joining us. Please hit like on this video and subscribe. Like and subscribe, like and subscribe. Again, thank you so much, Angelo, for
You're
joining.
welcome.
Angelo and I are going to have a discussion about this movie off video. And eventually we're going to start doing some spoiler videos because I feel like sometimes it's fun to go into a movie and I mean be able to sit down and really talk about the whole
Yeah.
movie. So again, thank you so much for joining me. Everybody else, have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.